Hi, my name is Tanya Wright and I am with Homeschool Heals. Today we are working with ordering fractions. So I'm going to give you just a little tutorial on how to do that. This is 5th grade math. So those who need it, hey, here it is. So today we're working with this set of fractions, and we want to put these fractions in order from least to greatest. There are 3 different ways that I know of that you can order fractions, and I'm going to tell you those very briefly right now. The first way is you can find the least common multiple. That's one way. That means that you will find a number that will replace all of these denominators. They will have all this in common, and then you will be able to order the fractions by the top number, which is the numerator. So again, find the least common multiple, turn this denominator to where they all have the same denominator, and then you'll be able to order the fraction based off of the top numbers, because all these numbers will be the same. Another way to do this is using decimals, and we'll do that way in just a moment. So using decimals, we can turn these fractions into decimals, and then we can order them by decimals, right? The third way that you can do this is by looking at these numbers right here. Those are the main numbers we're looking at, and we're looking at parts of a whole. So let's do the parts of a whole first. So you have 3 ways. Parts of a whole. Those are the 3 ways: least common multiple, decimals, and parts of a whole. Those are 3 ways that you can work this problem out. But first, let's do parts of a whole. So I'm just going to erase this so that we can work with this. So remember, our plan is to go from least to greatest. So when you look at parts of a whole, you're looking at the smallest one. What is going to be the first one that is the smallest out of all of this? And usually you want to look at the denominator, of course, but you want to look at how many parts there are. So if you have 12 parts, this is the biggest number that I see. If you have 12 parts, I am looking at, these are going to be some pretty small parts because there's so many parts in that. It's a bigger number, so the parts are going to be smaller. So that's why this one will be my first one. Take a look at this and tell me what you think would be the next one. So you probably have guessed that your 1/8 is going to be the next one, because this is the next bigger part, right? But this part has so many parts in it. So your 1/8 is going to be next, because you have so many, you have to break them up smaller. So that's the next to the smallest one, or that's the next. This is the smallest one, and this is getting a little bit bigger, I should say, because we're going to the greatest. All right, so what's our next one? Right, the 1/5. All right, so 1/5, and then we keep moving it on to the 1/4, and then we go to the 1/2, because if you think about it, that 1/2 is your biggest piece. So that means we have this picture here and only 1/2. So sometimes you have to draw pictures, and this is a good way to look at number lines too, to kind of see how they go. But you draw a picture that has 5 pieces and you color one in, So those are ways to visually see what you're doing here. All right, so has everybody got that one? So this is going from the least to the greatest, and that's using the parts of a whole, or looking at that kind of picture for that. Now, the other way I'm going to show you is the decimals, okay? So I'm going to use my calculator for this, and I'm going to break down each of these into a decimal. So 1/5 is simply dividing 1 into 5. So you got, dividing 1 into 5, you get point for our decimal Well, let's put the 0 there, 0.2, right? Now let's do 1 to 12, and you can get your calculators out and work with me. Now we got this one. All right, that's my 1/12. And then let's go to 1/4, and I can do this one without a calculator because I know this one by heart. Some of them you'll know by heart. That's there. And then we'll put our commas in there, separate them. Then let's do the next one. It's a 5. All right, and then this one I know by heart too, and you might too. Okay, so those are all of our decimals. Now you have to know, how do you see which decimal point is bigger, or which one is the least to take me to the greatest? So when you're ordering decimals, and this brings you into another part of a lesson, but it's the one way to get to the right answer of answering this question. When you're ordering decimals, you want to look at the number behind the decimal point. So which number behind the decimal point is the least number? And I'm looking down my line, and it looks like this one is my least number, right? 0, anything with a 0 in front of it, that's going to be my least number. So that's going to be the one I do first. And that is this one. So that is number 1. And I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to put it in red. Maybe you can see it better with red. This one will be number, nope, my red's not working that well. Anyways, let's see. Maybe you can see that. That's red. That's number 1. And then number 2 is going to be the next one that's the least. And we already picked the 0. So let's look through our numbers. Looks like we have a 1 and we have a 2. So 1 is less than 2. So let's make our 1/8. This is not working. Okay, let's make our 1/8. So let me just do this, make it easier. That's number 2. This is number 1. Okay, so that's my order so far. All right, so we got that as number 2. Number 3, of course, is going to be my 2 because 1. Oh, but look, we got 2 of them. So which one do we pick between these two? This one has 0.2 and that one has 0.2. So when you have an issue like that, you just want to look to the next number. So I'm just going to assume there's a 0 there because there's nothing there. This one has a 5. So obviously this one is going to be my next one. So this is your 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then this is going to be my 4. And then that's going to be my 5. So the new way to look at this, now we have ordered them from least to greatest. And hopefully that's helpful to you when you're doing your ordering fractions. You can also do this if it was reversed from the greatest to the least. You can do the same thing. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you.